Giving all praises, glory, and honor to our Heavenly Father, whose name is Yahawah, Bahasham, or in the name, Yahawashi, Bahasham Rakakodash, through the Holy Spirit. Giving all thanks for another day, another breath of life, another opportunity to blow the trumpet in Zion. And so I got this email from my shipping carrier yesterday, and it says, "Dear valued Carib Trans customer, we want to bring to your attention a proposed trade measure from the United States Trade Representative under Section 301, set to be implemented by the U.S. government via executive order in the coming months. If enacted, this policy would introduce a substantial port fee of $1 million per port call for any Chinese-built vessel docking at U.S. ports. The tariff is expected to have significant financial implications, particularly for exporters to the Caribbean, as the majority of vessels serving the region are Chinese-built. Consequently, ocean freight rates from Florida are projected to rise by thousands of dollars per TEU. And the TEU is a 20-foot equivalent unit, okay? Speaking about those shipping containers, most of which are 40 feet in length. It says this is going to create considerable cost burdens for businesses relying on these shipping routes. At Carib Trans Logistics, we remain steadfast in advocating for our customers and businesses," and it goes on. But it says that an extra $1 million is going to be charged for each ship that calls on a port in the United States that is on a Chinese-built vessel. It goes on to say that most of the vessels that we use in the Caribbean to import items are indeed Chinese-built. So can you imagine what that's going to do to the cost of food and energy and everything, really? Because the Caribbean imports 60 to 80% of its food, which really means 90%, okay? Nobody wants to be a farmer. Everybody wants to work an office job and look cute. You understand? But now, if this goes through, the cost of everything is going to go so high. And we're not even talking about all those other tariffs that everyone already knows about. This new shipping tariff is in addition to all of that. We brought out a lesson earlier regarding how these tariffs are going to fast track the mark of the beast and enable the governments to bring in their new world order, their digital currency, and assign you your ID in the form of a QR code, right? And we've gone through these types of topics many times. Well, let's just get some scriptures now. Maybe the first one we can get is Ezekiel 7:19, which says, "They shall cast their silver in the streets, and their gold shall be removed. The silver and their gold shall not be able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of Yahawah. They shall not satisfy their souls, neither fill their bowels, because it is the stumbling block of their iniquity." You see that? Why are they going to be casting their money in the streets? Because it's not going to have any more value. And everything is going to be digital. And all that you see happening, whether it be war, whether it be trade war, whether it be job losses, political instability, everything that's happening right now is all a push to get rid of cash so that you can be put onto a digital ledger as a commodity to be traded, bought and sold, right? I'm speaking about human beings right now. All of this is just a push to corral you into a pen of digital scrutiny where the governments can control every aspect of your lives, or else you don't eat. And we've been warning about this and we continue to do so, you see. But with this new executive order that potentially might charge $1 million every time a ship docks at a US port, that's going to increase costs for Americans too. Because you get all of your stuff from China as well and other places, right? And most of the ships are indeed built in China. So this is just another way to squeeze the people by increasing the prices of everything so that you can't afford anything. So that you cry out to Egypt for salvation, which will be in the form of universal basic income, where the government gives you money, where you pay with your attention and your compliance and obedience in order to eat. So now let's look at this article that came out a couple days ago from the Virgin Islands Consortium. It says a U.S. tariff on Chinese-built ships threatens shipping costs in the U.S. Virgin Islands and wider Caribbean. A proposed $1 million fee on Chinese-built ships docking in U.S. ports could raise shipping costs by thousands. Tropical Shipping and VI Port Authority say the tariff could cripple regional trade and push Caribbean import costs even higher. It says this executive order is expected to be adopted within the next month and could reshape shipping costs, disrupt supply chains, and hit consumers hard, especially in the Caribbean, where they rely heavily on maritime imports. Tropical Shipping has sounded the alarm, warning that ocean freight rates from Florida could jump by thousands if the fee goes into effect. So as we see, the governments of these islands, and indeed governments in general, are always in crisis management mode. They could never foresee a problem and prepare for it. They always have to be responding to whatever problem once it's already in place. For years, these governments were supposed to be helping to establish their own procurement of the things that they need being produced in the islands where they reside. Instead of that, they have subsidized foreign companies to import into these islands and developed a strong dependency on imports for their very survival. The article says, in the U.S. Virgin Islands, where tropical shipping plays a pivotal role in importing goods, officials are alarmed. VI Port Authority Executive Director Carlton Dow described the tariff as insurmountable. It's not even that the consumer is going to pay. It's that they won't be able to bring these containers to the territory, period. Check that out. The article goes on to say, Delegate to Congress Stacey Plaskett also voiced concerns, stating that the proposed fees could significantly increase shipping costs. Delegate to Congress Stacey Plaskett said the impacts will be felt across most industries, predicting price hikes at the grocery stores, gas stations, and hardware stores nationwide. The price increases will be directly passed on to consumers in the Virgin Islands and across our nation. You see that? Ms. Plaskett said she is rallying support, collaborating with the shipping industry and fellow lawmakers, especially those from regions dependent on maritime commerce, to push back against the tariff. My office has been working with the shipping industry and members of Congress, particularly in those areas that have large shipping industries and primarily rely on maritime commerce, Plaskett explained. We are urging the Trump administration to heed the feedback of elected officials, the maritime industry, and stakeholders before imposing these actions that will have radically negative consequences for our corner of the American experience. So Stacey Plaskett is the same woman that a few months ago went on national news and said something like Trump should be shot. And here she is now trying to negotiate with him. People with no vision, no understanding. That's who our people trust in. Okay? And besides, you think Donald Trump doesn't know the effects of what he's doing? The consequences are intended. So we're going to have to watch and see how this plays out. This is 2nd Ezra 16, starting from verse 17. Woe is me, woe is me. Who shall deliver me in those days? The beginnings of sorrows and great mournings, the beginning of famine and great death, the beginning of wars, and the powers shall stand in fear. The beginning of evils. What shall I do when these evils shall come? Behold, famine and plague, tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment. But for all these things they shall not turn from their wickedness, nor be always mindful of the scourges. Behold, victuals shall be so good, cheap upon earth, that they shall think themselves to be in good case. And even then shall evils grow upon earth, sword, famine, and great confusion. For many of them that dwell upon earth shall perish of famine, and the other that escape the hunger shall the sword destroy, and the dead shall be cast out as dung, and there shall be no man to comfort them, for the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast down. So what we are seeing is a lot of confusion with these nations rising up against each other. Like you talk about in Matthew 24, right? Nation rising against nation. Typically before nations go to war, physical war against one another, these trade wars happen first. And the Caribbean, which is so very dependent on imports for food and medicine and energy, if this thing goes into effect, they're not going to have no problem implementing the mark of the beast in those islands, man. We saw how they were all lining up in 2021 to get the thing that we're not supposed to talk about. And one of my videos was taken down the other day because I merely mentioned something like that, so I'm going to be more careful now. But that's just to show you that that in and of itself is not over. That's also going to be a part of whatever criteria that you're going to have to do to maintain your eligibility to be able to participate in society when this thing all comes crashing down. So things are happening, man. Despite all the different distractions, things are happening. Okay? The foundation is being laid and we are blowing the trumpet and warning the people. Okay? Our only way out is through faith in the Most High and His only begotten Son. This is 1 Corinthians 10:13, a verse that most people do not understand. But it says, there hath no temptation taken you, but such as is common to man. But Yahawah is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able, but will, with the temptation, also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it. So when you really understand this verse, you see that the Most High is not going to remove any temptation that is too powerful for you. But with the temptation that's too powerful for you, He's going to make a way for you to escape it. And that way of escape might not be a way that you are willing to take. You see? Because when this hour of temptation comes on the scene and you are not able to find victuals, food and water, shelter and energy, unless the government provides it for you based on your compliance. That's going to be the great sifting that the Most High spoke about in Amos 9 and 9, where your faith is going to be tried. And like the prophet Ezra says, what will I do when those days come? But this is Revelation chapter 3 from verse 10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world, to try them that dwell upon the earth. So this hour of temptation is on the horizon. We can see it very clearly. And we are warning folks to, through the spirit and power of Yahawah, sham, Yahawashi, get their houses in order. Instead of using these Passovers as times to dance and drink and jump up and down and gyrate and do all of these things that you see many of these so-called Israelite camps doing, now is the time to be girding up yourself with sackcloth, man. Now is not the time to be getting drunk. Now is the time to be sober. Alright? That maybe perhaps the Most High have mercy on you. Have mercy on me. So we're going to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham Rakakudash. Shalom.